have worked with India, and I know this question has been asked you so many times, but I have to ask it
Sure.
again. You have worked with cricket and hockey, both the teams in India. What is the biggest mental difference between preparing a hockey player for a World Cup and a cricket player for a World Cup?
So World Cup, I think in any sport, cricket or hockey is one of the pinnacles of the games. So there's a lot of pressure from home, from family, from friends, from fans, and also from within the team and individuals placing themselves. So the pressure is pretty consistent. I think the big thing about hockey is that it's much more of a team sport and that there's pressure to really connect with players within the team on the field, which obviously needs to happen off the field, where cricket is more of an individual sport played in a team context. And I think the other big difference is hockey players need to be so much fitter than what cricketers do. And for me, to achieve really high levels of fitness is actually more of a mental than a physical thing, because to push and do the kind of training when your body is really tired, really sore, you've got to repeatedly do that in order to get fit. So getting fit for a sport actually helps players get mentally strong.
And you also told me the last time that they should arrive as a champion, not wait till the final is.
Yes, so very much the philosophy that I've always brought, we had it with the Olympics and again with this tournament, is that teams that go on to win, they don't become champions when they win the final. They actually arrive as champions, they have prepared like champions, they eat like champions, train like champions, sleep, attend to their recovery, they prepare like champions, so that when eventually the team wins, everyone turns around and looks at them and goes, oh, well, that's no surprise. They've actually been conducting themselves as champions. So we very much have that as a philosophy again, that we want to arrive at the first game having prepared like a team that deserves to go on to win the finals. Of course, it's anyone's tournament, but that's a good place to start.
Paddy, you were the part of 2011 setup when India won the World Cup, then in Paris Olympic also. So what are the takeaways from Paris Games that you think that this Indian team can turn the Olympic medal into World Cup medal?
So, of course, it would be very nice. Paris, it was wonderful to get a bronze medal, but for us, honestly, that was the wrong color. We had prepared for gold. And again, we've prepared to win this, but we know there's also 5 or 6 other teams around the world that have prepared equally well, that have got very good hockey programs, very good hockey players. So on the day, any team can win when it comes to those top teams. I think one of the key things that we really took away from Paris was the Olympics. We prepared for things going wrong. We know in a campaign like this, things are going to go wrong. An injury to the wrong player at the wrong time, an umpiring call, any number of things can go wrong. We prepared to, one, expect things to go wrong. When they did go wrong, to accept that with full acceptance and immediately move to action with no blaming, no complaining. And that was really tested in that quarterfinal game against Great Britain, when we got a red card 30 minutes into the game and had to last 47 minutes against a team that we hadn't beaten for 4 years, 10 versus 11. And I think achieved from history will record, probably achieved the impossible. So again, in this tournament, we are prepared to win, but we've also prepared for any number of things that might go wrong. And that's really where teams are tested, not when things are going well. It's easy when things are going well. Well, it's not so easy. It's easier to maintain things going well than to recover from when things go badly. So there will be times in this tournament, for example, we might go 1 or 2-0 down. It's how we respond from those situations that are important, not the fact that we get into them, because that happens. It can happen to any team.
And that is when the Swiss boot camp becomes important for the preparation.
Yes, so part of taking the team to Switzerland again for 3 days and taking them into the mountains, mountain biking long distances, climbing very steep mountains, going down very steep mountains on the end of a rope where players actually lowered themselves down. They didn't have experts lowering them down. So we really took players well beyond their comfort zone, took them to elements of fear that is well beyond what they would experience on a hockey field, and what required real team support and backing each other. Because on a hockey field, if you're tired, you can just ask the coach to pull you off when you have a 3-minute break. When you're climbing in a steep mountain and you all need to get to the top, you can't all of a sudden step off. You need to work together and work together excellently to get to the top, whatever the destination might be. So we took players through those really challenging team and individual challenges in the mountains of Switzerland. It worked very well in the lead up to Paris. Hopefully it pays similar dividends going into this tournament.
One thing I wanted to understand, what climbing, pushing player out of their comfort zones, mountaineering can teach a player which a hockey field cannot.
So it's more, if you take players have all got sort of their ultimate level of fear or anxiety or stress in hockey. And the biggest fear in hockey might be fear of a broken finger, is one of the worst things that can happen, or a torn hamstring, or losing a game. When you go into the mountains onto a steep cliff and you realize that if I get something wrong here, I die and maybe some of my teammates die. All of a sudden, breaking a finger or losing a game has a very different level of perspective. So what we're doing is then when a player goes into a hockey field and he finds himself worried about a very physical team or physical opponent maybe hurting him, they've faced their own essentially death. Now they're just facing a bump or a bruise, and then it's not going to be nearly as dramatic in their minds that it would have been had they not gone to a genuine life-threatening situation.
If I ask you that one behavioral change you would like players to take from Switzerland into this World Cup, what would it be?
The behavioral change that I would like them to bring from Switzerland into the World Cup would be to focus on one step at a time, one part of the journey at a time. So we've got potentially 7 games ahead of us. We're at the bottom of the mountain. We can't get to the top of the mountain tomorrow. We have to go one step at a time and make sure that we don't make any mistakes at each step, because halfway, if you're climbing a mountain and halfway up you stop paying attention, you roll your ankle and you tear your ankle ligaments, you won't get to the top. So it's for us to really pay attention, one game at a time, one practice at a time, one recovery session at a time, one meeting at a time, and perform those as champions.
And how is your experience communicating with the player using AI?
So I have built an AI digital twin of myself that's able to communicate both in Hindi and in English. Players can voice or text note it. They get communication effectively from me every day. So that helps, number one, break the language barrier, that the player can speak freely in whatever language suits them. I can then also track that conversation, because even if a player speaks in Hindi, the question and the answer is in English, so that I can follow that. It also enables a player to speak to me at any point, maybe lying in their bed at 11 o'clock at night, rather than being shy to call me. Or 20 players can be speaking to me all at the same time via the digital twin, as opposed to in a very busy schedule, players prior to this would need to schedule an appointment, and it's a very busy schedule, so players wouldn't be able to get to me as frequently. So what's happening now is there's a lot more mental coaching conversations happening at the same time in the player's chosen language, and it's something that I can track in real time, the conversations that are happening. And I do believe this is going to be the future of, we know AI is going to be the future, and I think in terms of mental coaching support, there's not many really experienced mental coaches out there, and meeting someone one-on-one, it's very time consuming. So this brings the best thinking to multiple people at the same time.
And gradually we have seen, Paddy, players are opening up to their, they are discussing their mental struggles, and mental well-being is a very important aspect of sports today. So are Indian players opening up to you about their mental struggles?
So mental struggles, it is becoming more and more of an okay topic to speak about. Even sometimes, it's becoming more and more okay topic to speak about. And it is still a very individual thing. I wouldn't say Indian players are more open now than previously. I would just say more players are more open now than previously. The naturally open players are probably even quicker to open. The players who sort of 50-50, they seem to be a little bit quicker to open up. But the players who are really shy and reserved, still they're on the shy and reserved side. So it's a very individual thing. But what I really encourage, not just the players, but even people listening to this, is if you are struggling, you are not alone. You don't have to do it alone. There is definitely help and support out there. And really, really encourage to reach out, to find somebody that you feel confident and comfortable in sharing and carrying some of the load of your burden. And, it's the same within the hockey team. There's going to be pressures, there's going to be stresses, there's going to be players who have problems with family, or maybe members of family or friends that are sick. And it's really important that that doesn't weigh on them personally as they're sitting in their rooms, that they can share some of that burden with people that care.
Okay, so you have worked with some of the superstars of Indian cricket and now in hockey. So if I ask you, who are the players you think mentally the strongest one?
When it comes to real mental strength, or what we talk about is people who've got big match temperament. Those are the people who really deliver their best performances under the highest pressure. And that is only a very few athletes naturally deliver under those very highest pressure moments. And I don't want to go into naming them, but there's a good reason there are one or two in the hockey team. There are one or two in every cricket team and every sports team around the world, no more than one or two. It really is a unique bracket, and any team that has two or maybe three players who are genuine high pressure experts, that really bodes well for that team going into the finals. But I'd prefer not to take names.
And finally, you have been involved with the team that have actually won major championship titles. Do you think that this Indian hockey team has the same championship feel as those champions?
Yes, this hockey team does have what it takes to be able to win an Olympic gold, to win a World Cup. What I must say that is, I don't think that is given enough limelight, and that is the luck factor. The reality is there's probably 5 or 6 teams here on any given day that could win a semi-final or final, and very often winning is about that shot at goal that hits someone's stick and deflects wide of the post versus hits someone inside of someone's stick and deflects into the goal. That isn't a skill thing, that is a luck piece. A PC that hits someone on the foot versus just misses their foot and go into the goal. So very often the luck factor does play a role both in winning and losing. If I go back to the same Indian hockey team when we played Germany in the semi-final in Paris, we had more shots at goal, we had more position, more opportunities. Our shots at goal just didn't find the goal, where the few shots the Germans team found the goal. So we are going, the team that wins this World Cup, I can almost guarantee you, is going to be the team that is favored with the most amount of luck. And there are 5 or 6 teams that actually could go on to win on any given day.
Just like you predict about IPL winners.
Yes, I always say I know which team is going to win the IPL. I also think I know which team is going to win the World Cup, and that's going to be the team that's the best prepared and the luckiest on the day.